Do you want to create a compelling brand story for your brand? How good is your brand story? Is your brand story compelling enough? Or do you even have your personal brand or a brand story? If you want to know more about it, watch this video. Hey guys, my name is Sahas and I help real estate experts just like yourself to humanize their brand. Before I dive right into the content, please do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for the latest updates. Now, before I tell you how to make a compelling brand story, let me tell you one thing. There is no good or there is no bad brand story. Any story that you share about your brand is actually what you're telling everyone is that what your brand stands for. It reflects the values, it reflects the mission, and who exactly are you talking to and how can you serve those people through the story that you're telling. Is it compelling enough or not? That's a separate issue. But who exactly are you talking to? Brand story should also be talking about like the kind of solution that you reflect into your story, like what exactly brought you up to talking about those particular problems and what exactly that you stand for in terms of value and how can you actually help people to serve them in their mission. And brand story should be talking everything around that. A lot of people ask me like, does your brand story has to be truthful or not? I will leave it up to you. How do you want to do it? Can you speak of that story consistently for the rest of your life? Can you speak of that story until the time that your brand exists? How consistently can you do it? If there is something that you are standing up for and you say that you are going to make out some kind of a brand story and you are unable to stand by it for a very long time, I might as well not do that. So basically, whenever you're putting up a brand story or any story that you're putting forward in front of the people that you want to serve, ask this question to yourself. Can you consistently deliver that story to the people that you want to serve? And in my opinion, the more true that you be to yourself, the more authentic and the more consistent you are going to be in delivering that promise to people that you want to serve. The questions that you need to be asking when you are making a brand story is basically, let's start with first question. So is it serving you as a person or a company, or is it serving the person or a people that you care about? Now, what does that mean? It means that like, are you just talking about the brand, the reason why you made that kind of a story, and is it just all about me, and not exactly talking to the pain points and not talking to the real audience, and it's not looking at a bigger picture, and are you just talking about that? Or is it like you're really concerned about the problem that is there and you're trying to solve those problems for the people who want to get out of those pain points? So basically, are you providing that or are you just solving your own problem? Also, another question that you need to be asking yourself, that are you really trying to solve the problem with the story that you share, or is it just you're doing it for the heck of it? Now, when I say that are you doing it for the heck of it, is like maybe it is monetary gains, or if there is something like related to that you want to have a bigger number of clients or more business, or have more growth in the revenue. That's all fine. I'm not asking you to not have good business or like talking about money or anything of that sort. But one thing you really have to be concerned, you have to wrap your head around the fact that if you are making your brand story around like the monetary benefits, or there is some kind of an ulterior motive around it, you know it better than anyone else. But the fact is, that is the byproduct of what exactly you're trying to solve. So if you're really solving a problem for someone, a lot of people have actually made money only by solving the problem for the people, not by actually thinking that I want to have more money, which is why I'll pick up this brand story. If you're getting my point, be honest to yourself whenever you're picking up a brand story. What is the big reason? What is the purpose that you're picking up this brand story? Why do you want to say it to the people, to the audience who can actually benefit out of it? So the purpose has to be bigger than just, having monetary gains. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be thinking about money in terms of revenue that it should be generating, but that is the byproduct of what exactly problem are you trying to solve. If you've been able to manage to answer these questions, then I have another set of questions for you. The next question that you should be asking yourself when you're creating brand story is, what kind of a change that you seek to make through sharing your story? Is it going to provide any kind of a value in somebody's life? Is it going to be shareable by the people that you're trying to help? Let's say if you're talking about any story, if you're telling a story about like what you stand for and what not, is it going to be really helpful for the person that you're trying to solve? And would they be sharing that story with their friends? Now, what do I mean by that? Like if they're really affected, if they're really positively affected by the story, positively or negatively, do you think, is it shareable enough so that they could be talking about the same story with their friends? And if they are telling that story to their friends, what are they going to talk about? What will they tell about your brand, your story to their friends? It's a very important question, guys. The reason why I say that, because if they get helped by the kind of story, the kind of brand or the solution that you are providing through the story that you share. And if they tell the people that they are related to and the people who they are further connected with, would that be of any benefit to them in response to whatever story that you're giving out there? What should be the other questions that you should be asking yourself when you're creating one? Just ask more whys. This is what I say to my clients also. Like, if you are writing your story, what is your bigger purpose? It obviously doesn't have to be money. It has to be something more than that. Why did you get yourself into solving that particular problem for someone who can benefit out of it? Were you also a victim of that same kind of a problem? Can you relate it with your incident or the kind of something that happened with you also, and you're sharing that particular incident with your life, and then which is why you got affected by it and you thought that you could come out and start talking about it? Is that what you mean by it? The reason why I'm stressing so much about the brand story is that you need to be sure. You have to be positioning yourself with your brand story, who you are really talking to, who is it really for. So the purpose of sharing a brand story is simply to ask yourself, who is it really for? And if you're able to answer that question also, then you know that who exactly you're talking to. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to be talking to everyone. You have to be talking to one person and one person only. Who that person is. What would you be telling your story or your brand story to that one particular person? Would it make a difference in their life? What kind of a difference are you bringing in that person's life? The kind of difference that you bring in somebody's life, would they be sharing that story with their friends? And if they do, what are they going to tell to their friends? So these are the very important questions that you should be able to answer on your own before even writing your own brand story. If you have liked so far whatever I'm talking about the brand story, hit that like button and we can go from there. I assume that you already did that. Okay, let's move on. Before I end this conversation about brand story, I know I have been jabbing a lot about brand story, person brand. It's a story, and it could be as much as real story. You'll be just more related to it and what you really stand for. If you really feel that story from within, I think it makes more sense that way. If something, I don't want to be picking on something which is just because it's overhyped and it's hyped all over the world and it's actually getting some people the money or just like position themselves as those kind of solution providers. Pick your own story. You have to be distinct from others. You have to bring some kind of a value in terms of positioning why people want to just work with you, and that will be only decided by the story that you share and the problem that you are trying to solve and the change you seek to make. Every person has their own different story. How do you stand out? Now let's say if you're a real estate investor, there's so many real estate investors out there. If you are picking up the most common story out there that I help people to get their most best investment properties all around the southwestern Ontario, let's say, for example, that's very generic. A lot of people are saying that story. What makes it unique to your story? How can you link it with your own personality so that you could be talking about, this is my story and I've been into your shoes and I get it. So just put a human element to it and think about how can you talk to that particular person who you really want to help and serve and solve their problem, right? So you have to position yourself into that kind of understanding where you are talking directly to that person while you're talking about your story and how could they be benefited out of the story that you're talking about. And the last and the final question that I would be encouraging you to be asking yourself is, if you knew the truth about the story that you are sharing, would you buy from yourself? It's a very important question, and if you've been able to answer it, you would know the truth of it and you would stand by it if you really believe in whatever you're doing. I hope you guys got some value out of the content that I'm sharing. My consistent effort is for you to make educated decision in whatever work that you are doing. May that be about personal branding, marketing, whatever it is. I want to give you consistent value in whatever I'm learning and whatever I can help you learn and move ahead in your life. If you guys want to connect with me, you can connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. And you can also visit my website, www.sahaschopra.com. Stay tuned for the next video in the series. Till then, take care.